Thank you everyone for joining us today, where we're going to talk about relevancy and how it is the key to unlock the hidden value in every e-commerce transaction moment. To walk through today's masterclass with us, we have Ashley Robinson, Senior Vice President of Customer Success at Rokt. Hi, Ashley. Thanks for being with us today.
Hi, Denise. Happy to be here.
So Ashley, you joined Rokt actually over 6 years ago when the company was much smaller than it is today. How does that feel looking back over the span of time?
Yeah, I joined about 6 years ago, and in that time, I've been fortunate enough to witness amazing growth in our customers among all verticals. And something that's always been super top focus for us at Rokt is making experiences super relevant and simple for our customers. So I'm really excited to talk to everyone about that today. But before we jump in, I thought it would be great to share an explainer video, just so those listening in can understand what Rokt is and the role that we're playing in creating relevant experiences.
Excellent. Let's do that.
Nowadays, when it comes to making a purchase, e-commerce is usually the first choice, meaning harnessing the potential of your online business is more important than ever. Meet Rokt, where you can unlock new opportunities across each transaction moment. From purchase review, to checkout, to payment, to confirmation page. Drive more value for both you and your customer. How? Rokt applies data science to instantly understand each individual consumer and then recommends the next best action based on your business objectives and that customer's likelihood to engage. Like suggesting a relevant offer or service from your business or from one of Rokt's premium advertisers. You can even promote your new app for download or ask for a product review. Take James, for instance, a loyal customer. He adds a laptop to his cart and boom, Rokt assesses James's profile in real time. On the review page, Rokt prompts James with an insurance coverage from a trusted partner. Just like that. After all, who hasn't spilled coffee all over their keyboard? And on the confirmation page, another surprise awaits him. A free trial for that streaming service he's been dying to try. Awesome. You've just wowed your customer with a personalized experience that sets you apart from the rest. An experience that's worth so much more than a single purchase, where you can truly maximize the value in each transaction moment. Now, enable entirely new streams of revenue and drive brand loyalty, all with one seamless integration, built on over 4.3 billion transactions to date. To learn more about Rokt, talk to our e-commerce experts today.
Cool. I love that little animation. I think it really brings home the bottom line simplicity of it. So we want to be relevant to every customer that we interact with. That's so cool. So before we jump into kind of today's topic, we have a lot of e-commerce and marketing professionals in the audience today. What would you say in today's kind of e-commerce world is the biggest challenge they face, or perhaps also opportunity?
Well, these truly are, unprecedented times, certainly in the world, but also in e-commerce. Because of the impacts from this year, more and more people are shopping online than ever before, and expectations are changing. Consumers are truly expecting more from their brands in order to earn their trust and their loyalty, especially now that as consumers, we're, overtly aware that our data is out there and available for use. Even think about, your experiences in life when you go to a coffee shop and they actually know your order versus when you go to one and they get your name wrong when they call out that it's ready. How does that make you feel?
Not great.
Exactly. You're bound to go back to the coffee shop that provided the more relevant experience. And this is just basic human interaction. And we are at a point now where we need to bring these human interactions to life through e-commerce. And that comes with both challenges and opportunities within this. There's a lot of companies that don't always get it right. We did some research in partnership with Forrester and found that 79% of consumers expect brands to use their information to make their experiences simpler and faster. And most of you, I'm sure, are familiar with this. We want companies to get it right, and we expect them to use data and technology to make the purchase process more seamless and their communication with us more relevant. Surprisingly, though, customers feel that only about half of e-commerce brands are doing this right today.
Interesting. So only about half of the experiences they face when interacting or shopping online feels relevant to them. And everyone talks to us by first name nowadays. Um, so thinking about where the industry is at today, obviously there's lots of conversations around privacy and consent and about simplifying the buying journey from social buying to one-click checkouts. With respect to that, how are kind of the expectations evolving around, their data and what they're willing to do with it?
Yeah. Well, as you said, at the end of the day, customers want simplicity. And consumers now more than ever, as I said, we're aware that our data is out there and that there's an actual value exchange when we give our data. And there's research that backs this up. In e-commerce, nearly every store you land on, asks for your email in exchange for a discount. And we're very familiar with this, and it's understood by customers. Customers surveyed actually told Forrester that they would happily offer this information in exchange for a better, faster, and easier experience online. So this data exchange then gives companies the ability to create more seamless experiences through things like the one-click checkouts, which are creating less friction for customers. Not only are customers open to this exchange, though, they are seeking it out. Think back to the coffee shop example that I gave you. You would gladly, I think, walk a few extra blocks to have that experience again. And 91% of consumers are more likely to shop with brands who recognize them and provide that personalized experience. What's surprising, though, is the magnitude of actually getting that wrong and the impact that can have on your business.
Wow, 91%. So what does this mean in terms of business results and implications?
So despite that there is a clear value of relevance and personalization today, the majority of e-commerce brands are still missing the mark, unfortunately. In fact, only 52% of customers say that their shopping experience online feels personalized towards them as an individual. This sentiment is then only intensified with your most loyal customers, and 60% report actually feeling frustrated in response to receiving the repetitive messages or seeing an offer for a loyalty program that they've already joined. I'm sure we all have exposure to this. For me, for example, I'm pretty loyal with my airline, always book on the same one, and I'm in their points program. I have their credit card. I purchase through their app even quite often, but I still get served the same messages to join these programs in emails or even throughout the site when I'm booking. What they should be doing is showing me the next best offer, something that I'm not already taking advantage of, like a seat upgrade or something that I'm more likely to engage with. I think, for all the hard work that we put into acquiring and nurturing a loyal following, this can quickly be negated by an inability to shape the customer experience around who they are and what they want. This failure to meet customer expectations is really a huge missed opportunity and represents a threat to your bottom line as a company. If you don't provide relevance and personalized experiences, you're bound to lose customers. A relevant experience can impact so many aspects of your business, from revenue to customer satisfaction and lifetime value. This can drive 65% of customers to repeat purchase again. And the impact of missing that mark can be huge. 36% of customers have claimed that they would go as so far as to switch brands if their experience was not relevant for them.
For sure. I mean, I think we all know when this happens. They should know me by now, right? Especially if you're a repeat and loyal customer. So basically what you're saying, there's lots to gain if you get it right, but there's also lots to lose if you don't. So
100%.
what can e-commerce brands do to really up their relevance game in this and take advantage of kind of the upside?
Well, exactly as you said, we have to think about not only personalization, but we have to think about it in terms of relevance. And being relevant is truly creating an experience that frames, guides, extends, or enhances interactions with your customer based on, personal information such as their demographics, their history on the site, context, preferences, not just using, as you referenced earlier, the customer's first name and copy. Many companies, they do a great job at personalizing throughout parts of the customer journey. However, really rarely do we see brands that are connecting this all the way through, from the point of acquisition to making your first purchase to then post-purchase activity and how they communicate with you afterwards. So to be relevant really means that personalization needs to carry through all of those aspects. And it has to be present in everything from the design of the experience, the messaging and copy that you're using, the actual offer or product that you're serving to that individual. And this should be done at an individual level, not just by, grouping an audience or a segment, and that leaves room for assumptions within the business. And where the hidden value is when you get this right, your customers, they reward you. 54% will spend more, 68% join loyalty programs, 65% will purchase again, and 58% would even recommend a friend as well. So these are all things that will increase the value of each of your customers and ultimately drive more profit for your bottom line.
That's amazing. So it's definitely something that makes them keep coming back to you. So obviously companies have lots of information on us, especially if we're on their site transacting, making a purchase. But how do you use that information and really apply it at scale on a one-to-one level?
That's right. A lot of companies are sitting on a wealth of data about their customers, and they're either not using it at all or not using it as effectively as they could be. The way to effectively use this information at scale, I would say, is really with machine learning. So what machine learning enables you to do is deliver relevant, personalized experiences at that individual customer level. And it helps you activate data across all factors that we previously mentioned in real time. So the most successful brands will typically choose a software provider that includes machine learning in part of the offering, because these are out-of-the-box solutions that have been developed and perfected over years. They come equipped with, functionality that would take years to develop in-house, or from scratch. We do actually have a short video I'd love to share with everyone. It's from one of our clients that demonstrates how they've been able to use machine learning to really maximize their outcomes.
Great, let's have a look.
Our mission at Sign Up Genius is to empower people to change the world by making it simple to organize groups. I'm Robert Waddell, Director of Product at Sign Up Genius. Initially, our motivation with working with Rokt was to innovate, diversify, and improve user experience. But shortly after talking with Rokt, that optimization effort turned into a core part of our COVID response. Rokt is a unique advertising platform that allows matching of highly relevant and valuable offers to users on a one-to-one basis at the right time. We found Rokt to be the best of both worlds when it comes to quality and scale. Through rapid iteration and testing, we were able to gain deeper customer insights to provide an optimized user experience. We're able to turn advertising into a positive value-add experience for our customers. Rokt's approach to implementation allowed us to get started really quickly while optimizing on things like frequency capping and offer layout and offer format. Rokt functions as a partner in this equation by providing high quality offers and advertisers that are the best fit for Sign Up Genius users. The best part about working with Rokt is the Rokt team and their investment as a partner in our success. And we're looking forward to exploring other Rokt solutions within Sign Up Genius as well as the Lumiverse platform.
Very cool. What a testimony for you and your team, Ashley. That's great to hear. How does it feel to hear that the clients that you and your team work so hard to build this thing with?
I mean, it's great to hear that, right? That's what we're all here for, is to, build a positive experience for our clients, so Sign Up Genius, but then also their customers. And when we see that result, it really brings life to what we do here.
Amazing. So other than picking the right MarTech partner, what do e-commerce companies need to do for this to work and for them to really use relevancy to unlock the value in their transactions?
Yeah, so whether you're picking a third-party solution or building it in-house, what we found is what's important to power machine learning is this concept of a persistent identity. And what that is consented first-party data and an attribute that you can use to identify a user across the various touch points with them. So once you have this identifier, you can then stitch together these siloed data points from all the sources that you have, email, site, my accounts login, and really builds a singular customer profile. And this allows machine learning then to provide relevant experiences across all of those touch points. One thing that's important to note is that the identifier has to be sticky, meaning that customers have to rarely change this information when logging into your site or switching devices from browser, desktop to mobile. And the two best customer identifiers that we've found really when building out this profile usually tend to be either email address or a phone number. And from these 2 points, you can then cross-reference majority of your interactions with that customer. So as I mentioned earlier, this data is typically willingly given when a customer logs onto your site and creates their account. So they are expecting brands to use it in a smart way. And this easily circumvents any of the third-party cookies that would normally be involved with tracking customers that might give them an off-putting feeling. But when they give their email address, they're actively consenting to share that with the brand. And then once you have that customer profile built out, machine learning tools can then take over from there. And they would be able to use these large sets of data to further optimize recommendations for that customer at the right point in time. And this is key to really providing relevant experiences that the customer is looking for. So we mentioned it's not just using it in one instance, but knowing when and where to serve certain offers or messaging. So there's a couple things that also then get combined with that identifier, and those are the key categories or factors that help make actual decisions on what do we serve and when and how do we do that. So some of those factors, I think obviously one is definitely demographics, right? So any information around who the customer is, where are they transacting, what kind of credit card they're using, their age, their gender. This can all be useful to understand what customers similar to them are doing on the site as well. It helps you make trade-offs in that perspective. The second one is context. So this one also, again, seems pretty obvious. So things around that customer's current interaction. What are they purchasing? What device are they on? This can help infer what would we do to either enhance that experience or conversely, what would distract them from that primary purchase. History is also a really strong one. So the customer's history of interaction. So if you're seeing a repeat customer, understanding what they did on site the last time they were there, what were their previous purchases? Have they signed up for programs before? This helps you then make decisions on what to suppress that could be super irrelevant to that customer, or focus on suggestions that would be additive to build that relationship with the brand. And then the last one is an interesting one that we actually see has quite a bit of impact, which is the customer's previous engagement with things like design, the placement of the offer or the upsell, the messaging that is included in that. Is that, offer led or is it more emotional? This is used to predict, how can we engage with that customer again? So some of these definitely have more influence than others, and it can vary by person to person as well. The most impactful factors that we've seen are really those experiences where we can tie in the history from that customer and the context of what they're currently purchasing to make sure it's additive to that journey.
There's so much that goes into it. I'm just thinking about really all the information my e-commerce brands have about me. It's like, what did I buy? Where did I buy it? Which credit card did I use? And it's really very sophisticated models that really take into account all the information that I assume the company or the online store has about me. And I expect to be served something different than, let's say, my mother or somebody else who had a different history and context with it. So, so thinking about kind of the bottom line from our listeners' perspective, what's really the hidden value? We alluded to it a little bit about getting it right and getting, more loyal customers, keep coming back, referring friends, and the downside of potentially losing customers. But really, what's the bottom line in terms of maybe a C-suite listening to us now? What can this achieve?
So the bottom line is, if you get personalization right, it can be a big prize for your business. When you're incorporating personalization and truly relevant experiences into your customer lifecycle, these outcomes can drive a 10x increase in conversions or a 40% increase in purchase rate for upsells or cross sells. And these stats speak for themselves, and they prove that relevance is really key to customer satisfaction and ultimately revenue. And I think the key to that, as we mentioned, is doing it through machine learning and taking advantage of software providers that can help create these experiences without draining your internal resources. So you get the upside and the benefit without having to utilize all those internal costs. And really, when you do this and it's done correctly, it will ultimately double the profitability of your business.
I mean, that's huge to think about, especially now how a lot of stores are moving a little bit away from brick and mortar and really doubling down on investing in their online storefronts. It can really dramatically impact the bottom line and of the whole business, really.
Absolutely.
As we wrap up today's masterclass, let's talk a little bit about the future. What does the future hold for e-commerce and marketing professionals? And what would you suggest? What are the 3 ways that personalization and relevancy, how it can unlock value in e-commerce?
Sure. Well, you kind of just already hit on it. It's undeniable that there's this huge shift towards online, and that was even escalated this past year and a half through COVID. E-commerce is exploding, and traditional merchants that were more brick and mortar, they have now shifted and are doubling down on digital. And the same personalized experiences that customers would have received in those brick and mortar locations needs to be present online as well. And this is especially important, with the number of global e-commerce users, that's expected to increase by 400 million in the coming year. So personalization is really no longer a nice to have in e-commerce. As it continues to explode, it's truly crucial that your brands keep up and they stay on top of the relevant curve. So I think my 3 recommendations, other than to work with Rokt, my other recommendations would be to truly focus on giving customers what they want, which is a simple, relevant end-to-end experience with your brand. Creating a persistent identity to be able to serve that and deliver on that relevance factor effectively. And then to leverage machine learning, whether internally or externally, to really personalize that experience in a meaningful and scalable way.
So simplicity, creating this persistent identity, and leveraging technology to make it work at scale and hopefully have that big impact on your bottom line. Oh, thank you, Ashley, and thank you to our audience for tuning in. I think the main message of today is e-commerce is here to stay, and it's a huge part of the shopping experience today, and it will be tomorrow as well. And we must make sure to really bring in all of the human elements that we love about shopping in person to kind of our digital experience through relevancy. If you would like to know more, please feel free to contact a Rokt team member on the platform here, or come on over to rokt.com and request a demo so we can tell you more. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Thank you, everyone.